Alright guys, so hopefully you can hear us better now. Maybe you can confirm that in the chat, like this, to make sure that you don't lose any piece of advice and knowledge that our amazing speakers are sharing with us right now. I'm really sorry for the small technical difficulties. Thailand is a beautiful country. Sometimes the internet is not working amazingly well. We try to do our best, and hopefully you can still get the best out of that. But he just said something. All right. Cool. So, Jana, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Yesterday you were really inspiring. We had a chance to do some little exercise as well during the conference. I think it was really something different than just people sharing their experience or tips and tricks. We had the chance to touch the different aspect of the research and the coaching itself. So do not misspell what you do. So you are a worldwide coach, consultant, and speaker, and the CEO and founder of Alive in Berlin, Europe's most alive community of lifestyle and social entrepreneurs. So you have a background as a PR journalist, marketer, and even accountant,
yes.
which is a pretty larger scope. Exactly. So the first question is can you tell us a little bit more about your background? How long have you been also location independent? So where are you from? What's your age?
So, hello everyone over in San Francisco. Good evening to you. You do realize that you're living in the past and we're living in the future, right? I think that's always a funny concept to think about. Anyway, so basically my background is I'm born German as well. I'm Vidian Markasa, and that's kind of how we met from my conference and I met Berlin and their conference. We started, pretty much 3 weeks apart from one another. I grew up in Germany as well, but I didn't really spend my formative years there. So I moved to the UK, to England, in 2003, and then I was already a trained journalist and marketer. So I started off my career in an advertising and marketing agency. And
sorry guys, can we move close to here?
Yeah,
sure.
Closer and just use this mic.
Sorry?
Oh, just the computer mic, because it's working out better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So do they see us fine? Do we need to look at that screen, or is there a different camera?
Yeah, here it's okay.
It's perfect. You see like this.
There's no camera there.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
Bring it a little bit closer, like this. I think it's good.
It's gonna be fine. This is exactly what it's like, though. You're getting the perfect insight into what Nomadism is all about. Making do with things like crappy Skype connections, especially in Indonesia. And just as an insider tip, honestly, sometimes it's better to just buy a local SIM card. Like in Bali, that's what I ended up doing, and using a 3G network than using a Wi-Fi. Just inside. So anyway, I spent the last 13 years in the UK mostly. Obviously I've been traveling a lot, but I still have it as my home base. I feel more associated almost to the UK than I do to Germany these days. I don't spend much time in Germany at all. But I trained as a marketeer and then also went and studied marketing and advertising in the UK, which was fantastic. I loved the course. And I was always really interested in human psychology, consumer behavior, branding aspects, etc. So, whilst as a child I wanted to become a doctor, I really enjoyed the human aspects and the parts of marketing that were about the psyche and that were about really understanding consumer and buying behavior. And then I came to the end of that after 6 years of marketing work and journalism work, and I kind of felt like I didn't want to get another job at in the UK. It's very common to go for a graduate scheme, to go and work for Procter & Gamble and sell dog food. I just didn't see myself doing that. And so one of my mentors at the university was actually saying that because of my grades at university and my talents, he could totally see me in finance and I could continue studying. Now, as a learn junkie, I would consider myself a learn junkie. I was like, ooh, I could keep that were relevant in the world of work, but more from a context of finance. And so in the end, I worked with PwC. I was one of those couples and trained as a chartered accountant with them, and also spent another 2 years in another business that is a global data company, and was a commercial accountant. Now the problem with that was that probably 6 months into my training as a chartered accountant, I knew that I hated numbers, as I knew already that I had hated numbers. Not really hating them, but I was just not very, it wasn't fulfilling me, it wasn't lighting me up to look at the spreadsheet.
Sure. Speak into the mic.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We can move even closer.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry.
No, this is fine. So, I did my career in finance, but I was very early on asking questions around, was that really what I wanted to do, And so, in 2009, I started my own sort of discovery journey into trying to understand just what it was that made me happy at work. And turns out it was everything to do with humans and nothing to do with spreadsheets. So I decided to retrain and to become a life and business coach, and did that. And the interesting question that you raised about being location independent, because I had a commuting job, like an hour to and from clients and jobs, I immediately said that I wanted to work from home. And so in my coaching sessions that I had at the time, we kind of unraveled it from the back and looked at what would I like my ideal lifestyle to be like. And I wanted to work from home, and I wanted to have it be online, like I didn't want to have a local business. Immediately, so really from 2010 when I went self-employed, I was location independent. And that was really handy for taking trips around the world that I did already at the time. But really, truly nomadic I became when I left everything behind in England and packed a suitcase and a backpack. And that was almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
And now I actually chose recently to take a home base in London again. Just so I have some place that I can hike. I felt like after a year and a half and about over 50 flights and another 50, 60 skydives, I was burnt out. I just needed to sleep. So that's what I did mostly for December, January.
So you have you are like a life coach, and we realize like a lot of the audience, that we have here as well. It's like a lot of people are having this awesome 9 to 5 jobs, or maybe they're entrepreneurs, but with this home-based, and there's this new lifestyle opportunity that is existing now with the digital nomad, and we see that a lot of people are excited by that, but they are still have some breaks to do that job. How could you encourage people to do that job?
That's a great question. I think, first of all, there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5 jobs. I don't think it's exactly how we should be working. I think it should be more to do with when we do our best work and what kind of spaces and times. Are we the most creative, productive, etc. But I'm not categorically against corporate jobs or whatever. I think they have their place, absolutely. And a lot of people love them, right? So let's just be clear about that. But with regards to making that leap into digital nomadism, I think, first of all, it can totally be a gradual process. I don't think it has to be a radical, I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving everything behind kind of thing. In fact, I think that would be a little bit irresponsible to do. And it is that because it puts the person under so much pressure to immediately attract clients, and the fear then of that survival instinct can really hold you back making business decisions or going after clients, etc. So this is where the psychology comes in a lot. I think what I've seen as a differentiator between the people that are going for it and the people that are holding back is a lot to do with their mindsets, of course. What do they focus on? What do they believe about themselves? Do they think about themselves internally, even very quietly, that they're not quite good enough yet, that they don't have what it takes, that they wouldn't find clients, or that finding clients would be super hard? Or would they are they kind of focused on, I'm going to be resourceful enough, and I have what it takes, those kinds of beliefs about themselves. Also, I think it depends very much around how you would like to create that. Just because you want to be location independent doesn't mean that you have to be self-employed, for example, right? So everybody knows, I think, and hopefully you guys already are aware, that there are many jobs nowadays where you can be fully employed by someone, or a couple of companies, say, but have a very regular income. One of the major fears is, of course, the sustainability of income. Especially when traveling. Whether it's $1,000 that you need to live in Bali for a month, or whether that's $5,000 to live in San Francisco. And so I think the core question is what would make you feel, if you could have it all your way, how would you like to have it be? Like, what would make the transition easy for you to go into a digital nomad lifestyle? Because then you get to create your ideal way rather than listening to what everybody else is doing. I don't think that matters. If you can say, okay, what I need in order to go and do this is I need to, for example, when I travel, I love traveling to places where I know at least one person. Like last year I spent 5 weeks in Kenya, and I just knew one person that I met 4 weeks prior living in Bali. And he's Nairobi, and so he's like, hey, why don't you come to Nairobi? Because I kind of changed every month, right? And I was like, yes, I'd love to do that, thank you. And then I have one person on the ground, so that's one of my prerequisites, right? I like to have one person on the ground. That makes it easier for the transition. I also like to have regular income from clients. So, for example, when I was still building up my coaching practice in my early years, I worked with Tony Robbins' coaching company in the States for 3 years almost, which just guaranteed a continuous flow of income, alongside with my own private clients. So I think it depends much more about like under which circumstances would it be easy and effortless for you to make that leap, and just make a really long list of what that could look like, and then start working towards building that, rather than thinking, oh my God, this is very scary, and I either have to leave or I don't. No, do it your way.
Cool. So. As we know, also, like being a digital nomad, it's also hard and can get lonely at the time when you hit the road. Can you tell us a little bit more? I mean, you already give some insight about that, but about the psychological journey of embracing this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's a critical question. Mostly because there's this rumor that people who are nomadic are running away from something. And, in some parts I can kind of understand that. But in most parts, I think what they're actually doing, or what we're actually doing, is running towards. And one thing that travel always does, and why it's always on the number, like 1, 2, 3 of things that people want to do if they had all the money in the world, is because it makes us feel alive. It forces you to be so much in the present moment because the surroundings are not familiar. And that gives us the sense of timelessness. There's no fear of the future, no worry about the past. We have to be in the present, right? So, and that is what actually makes us feel like tingly and excited and alive, even if it's not always positive. So I think one thing that one of the speakers mentioned yesterday, actually it was Fabian that's going to come up after, he spoke about the joys and the pain. And I think that's so critical because it isn't going to be always happy days, just like it isn't right now, so that doesn't change. I think that whatever emotion or emotional stuff you have, it will catch up with you, whether you're on the road or whether you're at home. And you just have to surrender and process your way through that. I definitely had phases when I was in the most beautiful spots in the world. And I recently left a marriage, well, fairly, 2-3 years ago now, but left a marriage, and I just was in this most stunning spot, never been anywhere more beautiful. And I was miserable, and I was lonely, and I cried, and I think you just have to sit with that. There's no way about it. I do think that it totally is a great idea to have a support network, and in most cases it doesn't matter where they are. So I still have my best friends, whether they're in the States, I have a very strong relationship with Hawaii, so, whether it's 17 hours different, or, like it is right now, or 5, it doesn't matter. Like, I would always have my girlfriends in Hawaii or in Berlin on the other end of the line. So having a support network is definitely a good idea. And otherwise, this communal thing that people come together for at conferences like
Yeah.
DNX is huge. It's up to you how much you share, but I think the main misconception is that everybody else has their shit together, and I promise you nobody does. Whether Feli and Marcus were just here, or me, or these guys, we all have our stuff. Absolutely. And for some people it may be simpler or more comforting to travel with somebody, and for others, they're just okay being by themselves. I felt like the main thing that I learned, honestly, is that I grew so much confidence in even if I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight, I'm going to be okay. And I will always have shelter and a place to stay somehow. It has always worked out. And I'll always have food. And you don't have to be rich to get either of those.
So, last question before moving into... let's move to Twitter. You want a question?
Sure.
Okay.
What have you got?
So, do you have the question here?
No, not yet. Just do you have
Wait,
one
we can
other
do one.
question?
Yeah, we have one more question, and I think that's an important one, and we like to ask that to people who are like embracing this lifestyle. So, do you think that remote work, location independent, is it the future of work, as a lot of people are saying?
I think that's a very big question. I think my intuitive answer to that would be no. I think in actual fact that we are moving back towards a localized community type of economy, where it's valued that somebody has made something by themselves for someone else. I think face-to-face interactions are very, very important. Sustainability is a huge aspect in that. I don't necessarily think that everybody in the next 5 years is going to sit in front of their laptop at the beach doing digital work. No, absolutely not. I think there'll be a big part, as there's always been, of nomads around the world who feel the desire to keep on moving. But really, it's a stress, like it's an added stress factor to the normal day-to-day. Because it's not a normal work day. You don't have that definition, I guess. So, difficult. I don't think so. Is my answer on that.
We'll see what the future is. Let's see if we have a question on Twitter. And after we move with Fabian, who is ready in the
Another
block.
German. We're like German full house here.
What awesome future for nomads do you dream of?
What awesome future for nomads do I dream of? Well, that's an interesting question, actually. I would go based on the challenges that we're currently facing. That I would love to see for digital nomads, that there's easier banking, easier health insurance, and easier taxation regulations. The main thing, though, like these would be like practically awesome. The main thing, though, that I would love to see for us is borderlessness. Visa issues disappearing, passport issues disappearing. I think if we could have some sort of global passport, that would be my dream.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank
you so much. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Have a nice evening.
All the best for the continuation. I hope we can keep in touch. And yeah, guys, if you will share also the website of Jana, if you
Sure. Just
want to
any
get-
questions, just reach out by Twitter or Facebook or whatever.
That's
Happy
perfect.
to support.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great evening, guys.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Almost ready for the last one. Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. How was your night last night?
Oh man.
It was a fun night, huh? So just for people to let you know, guys, last night was a DNX party on a rooftop in Bangkok, and yeah, like you know how it was in the party after a long day, and Fabian was a speaker there as well, and he really enjoyed, and we are super happy to have him here today because yesterday he told us 10:45. We'll see how the party goes.
I made it, man. I got
So
just
you made it.